Hi, and welcome to episode 58, I want to say, of the podcast. If you're new here, welcome. This is a mostly knitting podcast. If you are returning, welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm Jamie, your host and the dyer behind m1yarns.com. And today I have a little bit of a progress update for you on some whips. And I just got back a few days ago from a little getaway, which was just so nice. And it's funny, I think it was on the last episode. I asked you guys how many whips I should take on a week-long trip. And if you know me, you know that I do knit quite a bit in a week's time. And that ended up becoming quite a great debate because I'm an overpacker, and in the end, I took 2 whips, and I'm glad I did. I made a lot of progress. I'll talk about it here in a moment. But yeah, the overpacking slash fear of not having a project is so real. I just realized I don't have the light on in here. Hang on. That seems a little bit better. Brighter, but I'm not going to re-record everything I just recorded. So if it was unlit for you in the beginning, sorry, let's get lit. Oh, and that's kind of like apropos for the sweater that I'm wearing. So let's talk about what I'm wearing. This is the Polaroid by Kraftling is her Instagram design brand name. And this incorporates 5 minis. This is a kit that's available in the shop in case you're interested. And I had enough yarn left over of both the minis and then the main color, which is like this charcoal, to knit a pair of socks with one of these motifs. So if you kind of divided this up into 4, like where these like almost like line bands are. So I think I chose like this one and put it on a vanilla sock. Super fun. Anyway, this is actually one of my most loved sweaters. Not my normal color palette, but I wear it a lot and I really feel like it's a mood booster, which I kind of needed today. You know, sometimes you just got to put on some pink lip gloss and a happy sweater and pull your bootstraps up. So that's today. Anyway, getting back to the whip conversation. So in the last episode, I talked to you guys about this sweater, which I had knit for my lovely husband. And while he is lovely, he was not getting a lot of wear out of this. And I think he saw me eyeing it enviously. And he's a little bit of a walking toaster oven, whereas I'm always cold. And so he said, well, why don't you just take it and wear it? It would look cute with like leggings as an oversized. Sorry, I wasn't like picking at my boob. I had hair on my one of these sweaters. Anyway, so I wore this and I asked you guys to tell me what you thought about how I can modify this to both shorten the sleeves and make it maybe not quite so oversized. And a lot of you had really great feedback. If you're interested in that sort of thing, head over to the comments on my last episode, episode 57. And I think that eventually what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do it this winter, but maybe sometime this summer or fall, I will do some sort of surgery to this to make it more wearable for my size. And let me just take a moment to say this. I didn't see this on the last video, but we have really good sunshine today, and I see it today. Do you see like a slight line right here? I did not employ the helical knitting method for this, and I should have. Although I dyed all of this yarn at the same time, this just goes to prove that individual skeins can be a little bit of a different value in the color. And on camera, I can see a line. I can't see it in person. I mean, I've probably looked at this sweater 1,000 times, and this is the first time I've seen the line. It's probably because it's on camera. You know, the camera lens picks up like all sorts of detail, but this is where I encourage everyone to use helical knitting if you're using hand-dyed yarn. Anyway, so that will make a comeback at some point in the future, so stay tuned and I'll report back on all the lovely details on how I plan to do surgery on that. So thank you for your feedback. So I think last episode I had just cast on a color work pattern, and after recording that episode I didn't knit at all on it, which is okay. But what the two projects I did take with me, one of which is the classic for our current knit along. This is a free pattern by Espace Tricot, and I've talked about the yarn before. I won't go into it. If you're interested, you can ask me. But one sleeve down, one sleeve to go as of last night. I love this sweater so much. I can't wait to wear this with like leggings and boots and skirts. I did do some slight sleeve shaping, and I knit the ribbing on here an extra inch longer than the pattern calls for, just because I like that. Other than that, I'm just in heaven. And here is that hair again. I keep seeing hair on my chest. That's not a good look for a lady. Anyway, my hair's shedding. So yeah, I took this with me on my trip, and I knit nearly the entire torso during the trip, and then I knit like nearly a whole sleeve on the flight back. In case you're curious, I flew to Colorado, where my mom lives, where I grew up, where I mostly grew up. I was a military brat, so I've lived a number of places, shall we say. But my mom and stepdad are in Colorado, and I went to visit them and had the most relaxing week. They live on some acreage, and a lot of their neighbors have all sorts of animals, mostly horses, but there are some llamas and alpacas and sheep, and I've tried to get my mom interested in maybe like a herd of alpacas. You know, that I could have my own, like I already have my own yarn dyeing company. I could have my own line of alpacas for my alpaca yarn. A girl can hope. A girl can dream. She said no. The other project I took with me, which I got a ton done on, this is the, actually I just realized these are both Espace Tricot patterns. That one that I just showed you, the classic for the knit along that's going on right now, which if you're not familiar, go back and watch. Well, I have a Ravelry forum. I'll link below. It has all the details. But the knit along runs through March 12th, in case you're interested in joining. That was an old Espace Tricot pattern when they were when the store was owned by two other people. They were just bought recently by two other employees. And one of those lovely employees, let's see if her name is on it because I can't remember her last name. Naomi Endicott. She is British, and she designed the warm-up sweater. I'm trying to figure out, I think I omitted the short rows. That's my style. This is the warm-up sweater, and I'm knitting this in my own hand-dyed yarn, DK held with mohair. Let's see if I can find some yarn to show you. Mohair, DK, and this is the colorway Harvest. And you know, I mean, classic crew neck pullover. I actually opted to do a folded over neckband, which I put on my Instagram stories, and a lot of you were voting like, yeah, you should do that. Very happy with it, although I think I could have knit it a little bit taller in hindsight. But essentially, when I left for my trip, I had the neckband, which I had done wrong. So then I had to rip it out and redo it. And then I've knit all of this. I knit all of this basically on my trip. I did the yoke and separated for the sleeves. The sleeves, if you're not familiar with these are the SOS cords that I sell in my shop. Okay, I don't know what I was saying because I got interrupted by a barking dog, which is like standard podcasting MO for me. I mean, I think I've never recorded without, you know, having to get the dog to be quiet. It's always the UPS guy or the Amazon guy or the mailman or all these interruptions. Anyway, I know I was talking about the SOS cords. Check them out if you're not familiar, but they make trying on your project very easy, makes putting your stitches on hold very quick. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of a fast, mindless knit, and it was just what I needed for a relaxing week. Other than that, I think my plan is that once I finish one of these, which considering I'm not done with the body yet on this one, but I am done with the body and a sleeve on the other one, I'll probably finish that first. Then I'll return to my Colorwork Goldwing sweater. So hopefully I'll have some progress for you next week on that. So this was a quick episode. I don't know what I'm going to cast on next after these current whips. But considering it's like still early-ish February, I feel like I should definitely make like 1 to 2 more winter sweaters before I dive into something potentially more spring-like. And speaking of spring, the first weekend in April, I will be vending at the, I almost called it the wrong thing. I need coffee. The Ann Arbor Fiber Expo, for those of you in the Michigan, Metro Detroit, Northern Ohio, Indiana area. That's a really fun fiber expo. So if you are coming, please come check out my booth. I will have some fun new kits that I am cooking up. And, you know, I'm looking forward to spring knits. So maybe, so the classic knit along runs through March 12th. I feel like it's a good time to start brainstorming a project for a spring knit along. If you guys have any ideas, drop a comment below. And until then, I will talk to you next time. Happy knitting, happy crocheting, happy weaving, spinning, fiber, fun. All right, bye.